Go.
All right, CAMBA Country.
Hey.
How's it going, Joe? So we did this in February was the last episode.
Last time we did this?
We're just gonna make up a new number. Let's say it's episode 15.
We might as well start there, which is cans, of course, in French. And
no, we're gonna go pre and post.
It's pre before, and post.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So
before BC and AC, before COVID and after COVID.
Well, technically, isn't it coronavirus? Because COVID is the condition that you develop if you're exposed to coronavirus.
Still C.
Okay, still C, technically. Yeah. Okay, got it.
All right, so we'll go BC and AC.
So we're AC 1.
Yeah.
2020 AC 1.
And the reason I bring up that fact is obvious reasons, but from a CAMBA perspective, it does shift some of the stuff we're doing, obviously.
For sure.
And that's kind of what we're going to talk about just to get communication out there for this episode. Might be a little bit different. You might see some video, and I don't know, we're going to get this video up probably on the CAMBA website, I'm guessing. Probably won't be hard.
No, I'd love to put it on the CAMBA website.
Yeah.
I'd love to figure out, where exactly, because it doesn't fit on the marquee, so it's probably a separate page, but
whatever. Yeah. And then on podcast, regular podcast feed, if you're hearing this and my audio sounds like very high production quality and Joe's sounds like we're on Zoom, it's because we're recording on Zoom. So
Zoom. There you
go. So we're working on that. Obviously,
everyone in the world knows what Zoom is today.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know what Zoom is today, you've been asleep since BC.
And you're going to have some trouble going forward. So,
right.
And I am down in this is my office, but it's kind of like a basement and all my workshop and all that kind of stuff. And so I have my spotlight on me, and Joe's up the road about 12 miles in his basement.
Which is actually my office. So there's a whiteboard behind. You can see that I keep notes on. Can't see my desk, but it's like stacked with crap. And
in the up north woods.
If you're up north, you have to have a wooden-sided room somewhere in your house. It's sort of a rule. I think you can't actually build a house here unless you add at least one room that has a wall like that, or a ceiling like that. So,
if I were to go out in our room or our upstairs, it's the same thing. It's all wood. It's, ceiling, walls.
Right.
All right. So this episode, we're not here to I guess sugarcoat things, make it feel like, oh, everything's awesome. It's just to communicate what's going on, how we're taking a good approach, how we want to make sure we're doing the right thing, safe. Just be realistic and kind of just see how we're going to progress, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know about you, but I've been itching to get out on trails, and I know lots of other people have, because I keep getting emails and text messages and Facebook posts and direct messages and Instagram direct messages with people asking, when are the trails open? When will they be open? It's kind of the common.
And my daughter's been asking me about the hospital trails too. So
we're
probably going to go out there this weekend.
Yeah. Well, okay. So without further ado, we should, make that announcement. So trails are going to open this weekend.
Yeah, that's why I laid it out there for you.
Yeah. So we're going to open all trails this coming weekend. So Saturday, what's that, the 9th? If you're itching to get out on trails, sun comes up at 5 a.m. these days.
It's like
5 a.m. on, head out. They're open, which is actually, believe it or not, pretty much the common window of opening time frame for us. I looked back in records, and there has been a couple, not many, but a couple of times that we've opened up in April, during the calendar month of April, but very seldom. And it has to be a really no snow year so that frost and thaw can get out of the ground in early April and have things dry up. We had an average snow year this year. It snowed a lot early, not a lot late. And so, there was frost in the ground and snow on the ground, and it took till now to get to the point that trails are dry enough to open up.
Yeah. It seems like a little bit early, but like 5 days maybe.
at the
Right.
most.
It's not,
I mean,
yeah.
it's normally it's right in the 10th-ish of May is the time frame, maybe the 15th, but right around in there is when we assume that we're going to be able to open.
Which for newer people, if newer people that aren't from the northern parts, it blows their mind because if you look at southern Wisconsin, for example, you see pictures, there's like leaves and green
Oh
and
God, yeah, and people are
everything going
gardening,
on.
and
My brother's been down at Kettle Moraine before it was even closed due to coronavirus, right?
yeah, and people are gardening and playing golf and riding road bikes
Yeah.
in shorts, and they're wondering like, why isn't northern Wisconsin open? Well, because it freezes pretty hard up here, and we got to let all that come out of the ground and then dry up once it does come out of the ground.
Found some piles of snow yesterday still too.
Oh yeah,
up on Bodecker. Yeah,
exactly. My road, there's a shaded side of the road that just doesn't get any sun, and there's still, a ribbon of snow up the side of the side of the road. So
yeah.
But those decisions actually are made with always every year with a group of people. So CAMBA works within a bunch of different county forests, or 2 different county forests, Bayfield and Sawyer, within the Chequamegon National Forest, and then a couple of pieces of private land like the hospital grounds. And we need to coordinate with all of those land managers what their thoughts and opinions are about when the dirt is ready to open up. And so it's not just quite a simple process of Ben or I or Ron or somebody goes out on the trail, walks a little bit of it and says it's plenty dry. That's a step, but it still requires a whole bunch of coordination and communication normally with all of those agencies I just mentioned to make sure everyone understands that we're opening the trails and they agree with us that they're ready. So I think I've gotten a lot of comments of, NTN's open or Duluth is open. Why can't we open? I don't know how to measure us versus them, but we've been working at it for 2 weeks now of trying to predict an opening date with those different entities. So
NTN's open this early?
That's what somebody told me. No, I have not confirmed that, but
don't they get like 4 feet of snow on
I
the
would
ground?
think. I think they were grooming ski trails 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if that's really true, but somebody said that to me.
Anyway.
Regardless. So anyway, this year's a bit different than past years because we were asked and happy to comply with working with the county health officers to coordinate that opening activity. And they have concerns about the community's health, the visitors' health, all the different people flowing in and out, the hospital's capacity, all of those kinds of things. And we were just asked to coordinate. So we added an additional wrinkle in this year beyond just the land managers, but trying to coordinate with those agencies to make sure they understood when we were opening and what our intention was to open. They've been great to work with, really, really awesome people that have everybody's safety and health in mind. Sure, somebody might be opening a golf course or opening something else that's out, not paying attention to that, but nonetheless, that's where we wanted to make sure we were following their guidelines. So, and everybody's on board. So we all feel pretty good about opening the trails and letting people get out in the woods on some single track. We've been able to be out in the woods on gravel already, but on some single track and enjoy the great CAMBA trail system starting this weekend. I know I'm working on my bike tonight, so that Saturday morning I'm going to be one of those people out as well. So
yeah, I think it's supposed to be a little cold.
It's
like it's been really nice, and then it's supposed to be 40 degrees, I think, on Saturday.
It was 62 yesterday, and now I hear the high on Saturday is 49. So it's
good.
Yeah,
good.
But still 49.
It was like 40. I know, but it was still 40. So
it's when you have some 60s and then it is all of a sudden 40 something. You're kind of like, oh man,
kicking the shin.
Right. So anyway, so
it was just a little bit of coordination of communication with the groups. That was
and as I said, we're all super happy with our ability to work together with all those people and those agencies. We're coordinated. We're opening Saturday. What's really interesting is this year, not only are all the mountain bike trails opening this Saturday, but my understanding is that the the counties have coordinated all the different activities as well. So mountain bike trails open this weekend, but I think ATV trails are opening this weekend, and hiking trails in the national forest, and all those things are kind of opening with the goal of letting people get out in the woods, but also trying to make sure that we can separate from each other, maintain social distancing, all of those things we all know are so important these days. So,
outside of big groups of people, how often do you ever come across people?
I would say I generally
I'm just
see.
trying to give people an idea, like newer people. It's like,
Sure.
because here's the thing: is when we talk about social distancing, and then I think about, let's say, take one of the Minneapolis area, trailheads packed, and you might see a ton of people, and you'll see people on the trail. You'll be passing people. It's not very rarely do I see, unless you go Saturday morning out to, let's say, Double O.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
How often do you ever see anybody even?
Well, there's a couple there. So that's a really good question. So, we have a what we call like a backcountry riding experience here at CAMBA. And the concept of a backcountry riding experience is you are going to get away from your car, and you are going to get away from other riders, and you're going to be out in the forest. Hence, we say, make sure you know what's in your pack, and make sure you know your route and where you're going, and make sure that you're prepared that you could find yourselves 20 miles away from your car. And what are you going to do if you have a mechanical there? Which means our trail system, unlike something in Madison or something in Minneapolis, you're probably not going to see anybody on the trail. And, you might see one or two riders, maybe a group of 3 comes by, something like that, on a general day. Today, what we're saying is, okay, that's going to happen. When you see those 3 people, it's important that you give each other space. So to follow the normal trail etiquette rules, like announce when you're coming up behind somebody so you don't startle somebody, announce if you'd like to pass. If you're being passed, give up the trail to let somebody pass. If you got a rider, a 2-way trail, and you got somebody coming down, somebody going up, the downhill rider yields to the uphill rider. That means the downhill rider steps off the trail, lets the uphill rider pass, and the downhill rider then goes after they pass. That's important on an everyday, but it's also really important today to make sure that you can pass each other and maintain distance from each other. So,
in a situation like this, mountain biking or not, it's just we go back to basics and things that we might have gotten lazy not doing that we know we should have. And when you're in a situation like this, you're reminded of it because there were procedures in place for a reason, because they helped you maintain certain things, and they worked. And when you don't have those procedures in place and a pandemic hits and we all shut down, then they come to light pretty darn quickly.
Really quickly.
So just remember the basics, right? And everything we do. But
so
when you say that, the basic thing, the basic etiquette is
give up the tread to the person that needs it, like whoever's going faster or whoever's going uphill, and try and step off the trail enough that they can pass quickly, or you can maintain your 6 foot of distance. And if you're riding with somebody else, in today's world, you kind of want to give yourself space. Not kind of, you should give yourself space. At a minimum, 6 feet. I don't know if it's more than 6 feet when you're riding, but at a minimum, don't just ride right behind the person in front of you. Give yourself some space.
Like you said beforehand, if you have any questions about that, go to the CDC website.
Yeah. So I think there's in this conversation
beyond that.
In this conversation, there's 2 sources. First one is in regards to coronavirus. Yeah, absolutely. The CDC is the source of information. That's where you should be getting your information. There's 25,000 other places you can get information, but the only one that has no other motive other than public health is CDC. Everybody else has got something else that's a motive or a goal that they're trying to achieve. And then when it comes to trail etiquette, the authority is IMBA. Go, in the newsletter that we're sending out, or the Facebook post that announces the trails are open, there's a link in there to the trail etiquette page on IMBA's website. And then they lay it out very, very clearly what it is to be a responsible mountain biker and responsible to the land, to the trail, to the landowner, and to your fellow users. So I just kind of point out, well, those are the two sources in regards to this conversation that are worth paying attention to. Everything else is just kind of layering on top of that. So
does IMBA have any stuff out there? I haven't checked their site recently. Do they have any stuff out there for coronavirus related situations or anything?
They do, but because our trails are in Sawyer County or Bayfield County, we are referencing what the Sawyer County Health Advisor and the Bayfield County Health Advisors are recommending. And so when you go to well, first of all, on the website, you'll see their recommendations. But when you go to a trailhead, whatever trailhead you're going to be at, you'll see we've posted signs with their safety measures in regards to coronavirus. And it's the typical things. It's social distancing. It's wear a mask if you can't maintain 6 feet. Wash your hands plenty. Don't touch things and then touch your face. And then, of course, we're adding on top of that it's not wise to carpool these days anywhere. So in a normal world, we'd say carpool, take one less car somewhere. But in today's world, it's sort of the cost we all have to bear is you shouldn't be carpooling to a trailhead.
Can I add one more?
Yeah.
This is a personal one. Things you may hear in this podcast do not necessarily represent CAMBA's position or something like that. Another one too is, since this kind of goes across the board and for us maybe applies a little less than other areas, but it applies here as well. Bathrooms and facilities and all that stuff's not going to be open.
They're all shut. Yeah.
Please have some alternative way to get dressed, to go to the bathroom. If you're going to go in the woods, make sure you're far away. The last thing we need are people in bike clothes with their butts hanging out so that people drive by and see it. It's like, have toilet paper, have a shovel, do whatever you need to do. Go before you're there, wait, go somewhere else after, change, make sure you have a towel, do it in your car, whatever it is. But please be cognizant of people around you, because I don't want us to be a bad example.
Yeah, agreed.
And I see that with facilities being closed. I see it in the hiking and camping discussions in the DNR. It's like, where are we going to go to the bathroom? I don't know. Figure it out, but don't be that person.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person. And Ben
rant off.
Well, but you hit a valid point that I forgot, which is if there are bathroom facilities at one of our trailheads, they're closed. So like in the National Forest, there are some bathroom facilities at those trailheads. They're closed. So you can't use those.
Double O's closed.
Yep. All of those sorts of things. So plan ahead is what that says.
Here's another one. Here's a hot tip. If you do have kids and you're concerned about that, and little kids, maybe you're out for a ride and you're switching, and maybe they're out for a ride with you, you're going to go for a hike with them and you're out at one of our trails, you can go to any camping store and buy a little portable toilet. That works. I remember my kids are big enough now they could go in the woods, but when you have real little kids, the big concern is, well, what am I going to do with my 2-year-old who has to go to the bathroom? There's portable toilets. It works really well. So hot tip there for you.
There you go. And the last one that I didn't mention is
I don't want things being closed.
It's really where we're going next, right? So it's really key that in the parking lots. So if you go to Double O and ride there on a Saturday, there are Saturdays where I've been by there and seen 25 cars in that parking lot riding. Yeah. It's going to be really, really important for us to maintain our trails being open all summer, that we maintain safe practices in those parking lots. Don't park next to another car if you can avoid it. If you have to park next to somebody, make sure you're never between the two cars together. Stay apart from each other.
We just have a really good opportunity as mountain bikers and CAMBA, and all of us CAMBA members and everybody that's listening to this or in general, to be good examples.
For sure.
It's a great opportunity to do it. And I'm talking to all the CAMBA members and myself and us. We can be good examples with that kind of thing. So
and the cost is, the cost is if we don't get it right, if we do this wrong and we're not exhibiting safe practices, we don't own this land, and somebody might come along and say, sorry, you got to close these trails for the summer. And we don't want that to happen. So that's why we're strongly reminding everybody to follow the safe practices rules, and then also reconfirm or reacquaint yourself with the trail etiquette practices that IMBA recommends.
And we have all those listed on the site, like the just Sawyer County, Bayfield County recommendation, or link to it?
Yeah, we'll link to both. We'll link to Sawyer and Bayfield County Health Advisor website, and then link to the IMBA website where all of that stuff is well stated.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what we got there. And so we're opening May 9. One thing to keep in mind, one of the things we're all really proud of with CAMBA is there's more than 100 miles of trail. Sometimes it feels like there's 130 miles of trail. It depends on what year it is and if we're opening a new section or not. But in the last 2 weeks, as we've been planning opening and the snow's been gone and we couldn't ride yet, but we could get out there and work on some trails, CAMBA volunteers have put in more than 160 hours in the last 2 weeks. Leaf blowing, chainsawing, getting the trails ready to go. I mean, I've used this term before, it's a Herculean effort of a bunch of volunteers. I mean, I can't even list all the people, but there's so many people that have been out on all the various trail sections, cleaning trail, pulling brush off, leaf blowing if necessary, cutting up trees that might have fallen down over the winter, a ton of effort. And the stuff that I've taken a look at is pristine, is beautiful. I mean, it's like great surface, trees are out of the way. If they've fallen down, you're going to be pleased if you can get out this weekend and ride.
And you know what's good about that too is it's a jump on, usually early season we get some kind of storm. Like
for sure.
In the next few weeks we're going to get some kind of storm and there's going to be stuff all over the place, but we already have a jump on all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not as big of a deal.
Right. Yeah. I think that one of the cool things is that, with the shutdown of many things and a bunch of people working from home or not working, we had a lot of people raise their hand and say, I got some hours, do you need some help with anything? And we tried to take advantage of that, apply that wherever we could. And we logged more than 160 hours in the last couple of weeks of volunteer time out on the trails. So thank you to everybody. Awesome effort. So
yeah, that's what I heard. Is it really all leaf blown already? Like, well, quite a bit.
It is. So we have blown either in the fall just before it snowed, or in the last couple of weeks, we've blown over 100 miles of single track. I mean, just think about that number of leaf-free, awesome mountain biking single track. So yeah. I
don't know if we're going to touch on like trail projects or not, and kind of where we're at with that, like the plans, but
yeah. Well, okay. So
I don't want to throw off the order here.
No, I think that was the main topics we wanted to do. So it's good to add something that we didn't think about. So, all right. So it's 2020. It's coronavirus COVID-19 year. Ben and I have been talking about, as we did at the beginning, before coronavirus or after coronavirus, BC or AC. AC, a small nonprofit like ourselves, has budget challenges. We in raw numbers, we had a budget last year, 2019, of about $250,000. That's the money we spent on the trails and different activities. We were planning to increase that at the beginning of the year to over 300 for this year. So nice increase. That would have been a lot of activities and trails built and things that people would have noticed. March hit, coronavirus hit, and as a result, we've had to take that budget down really significantly, anticipating that our income could be going down. And so we've adjusted accordingly. You're still going to see CAMBA fundraising during the course of the year, and we hope we can do better, but we've had to shrink to a budget smaller than 2019 for this year. Unfortunately, what that means is our big trail projects have to wait until we can see if we can grow our budget back up yet this year. So, for example, we were planning to build a new loop system at Hatchery. That's on hold until we understand our budget better. We're still going to do plenty of maintenance, fixing washouts, weed whacking, leaf blowing, etc. None of that is changing. So the trails that you hope are going to be in great shape when you show up to ride, they'll probably still be in great shape. We're just probably not building a lot of new sections of trail this year.
Unless there is somebody listening out there who decides they really wanted that and has a lot of money that they want to get involved.
Or wants to organize some sort of fundraising activity and help out with that. We do have a list of projects that we wanted to take on with that over $300,000 budget that we had originally embraced. But, unless we can see our budget climb back up, it's going to be hard to build a bunch of new trail this year.
I say that kind of jokingly, but I for a reason, because the kind of the support that we have seen, I think, has been a little bit surprising. So it's good to know that people, even if they can't make it or staying away or staying home, are making a point of helping and supporting, knowing that they are going to be back and they want to see things keep going. So I said that kind of jokingly to bring up that point, because it's pretty cool. But anyway,
fundraising matters. I mean, it really, really does. Like, you think, okay, what does CAMBA really need money for? Well, if we take last year, for example, that $250,000 budget, about 50% of that was spent on the trails. 50% of it was spent administratively, paying staff, running some events, expenses over there, that sort of thing. But we're pretty proud at CAMBA that we're always able to put roughly 50% of that money, and most years a little better, directly back into the trails. So if you think of it that way, if you say, man, this is my year to be a member with CAMBA, and your membership is $50, $75 if you also get the winter pass or winter snow rider on top of it. Well, at least 50% of that is always going to go back directly into building trails. So if you're not a member and you think, okay, well, how can I help out? Well, the easiest way to help out is become a member, and then funding starts to come in towards building new trail. So,
yeah. So anyway, I derailed that, basically getting at that we have so much, like when we were sitting down talking about goals last year and we come up with this new vision and new kind of new plan, we kept saying, and everyone we had involved was, we have a really good system and we need to focus on what we have before we go crazy on all this other stuff. And this just hammers it home that, you know what, we have a lot of really good stuff. Let's focus on keeping that really good.
Yeah.
And
we have, I don't want everybody to think that CAMBA's in dire straits. We're not. We're going to be fine through this. And you're still going to see
just have to adjust.
Yeah. And you're still going to see your favorite trail section that's maintained, and if there's a washout, that it's fixed in a reasonable period of time, and that we keep the weeds cut back so you can have good sight lines and have fun, safe rides. None of that's going to change. We did not cut anything in relation to maintaining trails. That at a minimum happens. We have a lot of awesome members, a lot of fans, and we want to make sure they have a great experience, even if we can't build a new section of trail for them this year.
That's essential.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we are essential. Yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
no, the trail crew, that's always first priority. That's essential.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So,
yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So I think, is that it?
I think that's our update for now.
We just wanted to communicate how we're handling this and just give you some reminders and check back in. And, I was talking to Joe the other day, and I there's some things with the original CAMBA Country BC that I never really got to. Kind of the plan was to incorporate more of the community, get all those kind of people on, and AC, that's kind of the plan going forward. So where I can is, I think as we go forward, what I can do with some of these people is I have 2 long microphone cords. We can sit outside and have long microphones and talk to each other pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I think that's the plan going forward. Personally, I've kind of been knocked off my feet with early summer vacation and my wife being inundated with new clients and stuff. But so I got to put together the plan on paper and come up with an idea. But looking forward for AC for CAMBA Country, that's the plan, is to incorporate more of the community and the people involved and all that kind of stuff. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Can't wait for that. So.
Yeah. So CAMBAtrails.org, people, if you do want to read any of the information, become a member, whatever it is, you can always check that. Follow us, CAMBA Trails on Instagram, right? Yeah, CAMBA
It's
Trails.
CAMBA Trails
And then I
Instagram
think
or
it's
Schwamigan Area
Facebook
Mountain
too.
Bike Association Facebook. Yeah.
Facebook. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it. All right.
All right.
Good.
Cheers,
All
everybody.
right. So that's episode 1 AC. There you go.
AC1. Cheers.
Yes. All right. Thanks.
Stop cloud recording.